guys, how are you doing? It is Michelle here, the Dreaming Debutante, and I am working on collage papers today. So I am going to be painting paper, marking up paper, making a mess on paper. I have one that I started, I'm going to grab it for you, last week. And, I'm sure can you see? Oh, I'll never get the mirror image thing right. I just don't ever get those right. I'm always moving it like the wrong way. So this is something I started, and I was doing like some sketches on there, and I cut out some words because I have an idea for a project for those. But I was so stifled when I was doing it, and I think it's because it was I made it on watercolor paper. And it's not like it's an expensive journal or anything like that. See, like I should have started out on this page, which I was just using as like, I don't know what I was doing here. Or this one. These are other ones. So I don't know. I was very stifled doing this one. So I think I might just leave it, or I might be kind of combining them into different things. But I think today I'm going to be working on putting paint on paper. And I think that's where I'm going to start out. I've really been inspired by watching I'm going to put the name underneath here because I'll never remember it correctly, but it's another YouTube channel here. I'll put a link in the description, so please go check out her channel. She's lovely. I just found her channel, I think, last week. Really enjoyed it. And she's been making painted papers, which is something I've done. I love doing it. I love watching people do it too. I don't know if you like that. I find it so much fun watching people put stuff down on paper and seeing what they're going to do next and what they're, you know, or when they're like, oh, I don't like that. And you're thinking, oh, I love that. It's almost like a cliffhanger that you're watching. You're watching this kind of, you know, movie where you're like, no, don't go in the room. And then they change it. And you're like, oh, but I love that. And then, at least for me, almost every time, then when I see what they do, I'm like, oh, better. Yeah, much better. So I have some tools here. I have some acrylic paints and my paint sticks and my gelatos. I'm looking around what I have kind of laying out that I'm thinking I'm going to use. And I think I brought over copy paper. I'm in my studio, so I don't know if I brought over copy paper here yet. I feel like I did. Yes, I did. So I'm going to be using copy paper for that. I'm also seeing some like manila colored paper that I have, so I might play with some of that. I'm going to make myself another coffee. I bought a new mug. Do you want to see my new mug? Do you care about mugs? I don't know. I care about people's coffee mugs. I like mugs. I got this at Target because I know somebody's going to ask. I feel like it was $8, but I don't really know. I was doing back to school shopping. We homeschooled, so it was back to homeschool shopping. And I felt like a mug for here. Nope, see, I'm going to get it wrong. It says, hello, gorgeous. I thought it'd be nice to come into my studio and be greeted with that. But I forgot I brought that over. It was in my bag. And so I took out my other one. This is another new mug that I got for myself. Living in the 80s, it says. I'll link to the Etsy shop that I got this from. I don't know if I can do that. There's a blog post that I'll put where it has all the descriptions and stuff like that. So if you check out the blog post, anything that I've mentioned, I'll link to in there. Still learning the YouTube rules, so I forget what we're allowed to link out to. But yeah, all the details will be on my site if need be. So yeah, so enough yammering. I'm gonna finish this before it gets cold, and then I'm gonna make myself one more. I usually have two when I'm here working. They're decaf anyway. I'm a decaf coffee drinker. I know I can't drink caffeine. It makes me anxious. So I can have it, but if I drink it regularly, and I don't drink it for the caffeine, I just drink it for the enjoyment of, I just enjoy coffee. And tea. Would you like tea? Okay. So enough of that. I'm going to finish this. I'm going to read a little, I think, while I do that. I'm reading, if you're interested in books, I told you this is, if you watched my welcome video to this channel, this is going to be a little of everything. So hopefully you like that. I don't know how any kind of, I don't know what an algorithm's going to be. Looking at the channel and being like, we don't know what to recommend to anyone. But that's okay. It's okay. I trust that the right people will find me. But this is Lessons in Truth. It's fabulous. So I'm going to finish the coffee. I'm going to read, make another coffee, and then I'll start creating. For you, it'll be like I just flow right into it. So here's to painting. So hopefully you'll join in. Or if you just can't right now, like you're like, I just can't get out, I can just sit and chill or whatever you're doing, then I hope you find this relaxing. I hope you find this restorative. If you're going through a tough time right now, I send you love, so much love. And if you're having a good day, I hope this adds to it. But yeah, if you're having a tough time, just know you're not alone and that there's lots of love out here for you. Okay? All right. So let's get to creating. And if you're having a rough day, and if you could just pick up one of your favorite things, like if you like, I like to make gelatos, or my tempura paint sticks. If you are really struggling, I would encourage you to just go to wherever you create and just pick up your favorite thing. Just pick it up. Don't have any expectation. Just pick it up and maybe make a mark on a piece of paper, like a napkin, scrap paper, whatever, and just see if that helps a little bit. I know sometimes it does for me. Sometimes I do that mark and I'm like, no, still don't feel great. I'm still not making art, and that's okay too. But maybe it'll make you feel better. Okay, onward. All right, so I have a new cup of coffee. I'm ready to go, and I'm going to start off on this. This is that manila colored paper I told you about. I have my bucket over here of all my acrylics, and I literally just reached in and grabbed a handful. I don't want to overthink this, and I tend to gravitate towards the same colors. And I'm noticing I brought over certain paints to my studio, and a lot of them are sadly dried out. That one I might be able to save though. These are tubes that I had purchased, and a lot of the gouache of these, I've had these for a number of years, but in a couple of them are dried out. So I wonder what you're working on. If you're working alongside me, I have these paper plates. If I'm honest, I think these paper plates, were like when you get pizza, sometimes they give them to you. I don't really know where they came from. They were with food, I think, that we had. And I had kept them in my car when I was getting everything out of the trunk tonight to come on over. They were in there. And I thought, well, those will make great palettes. That's why I had kept them when I saw them the other day. I thought, oh, they'll make great palettes. No, I'm thinking again. Okay. Stick with what I originally said. I started thinking. And I don't want to think because I just want to put down some color and have a play. I need to get some wider acrylic brushes. I just buy the cheap ones. I'm not very good at, kind of taking care of things. So what I am going to do is these, as I said, are going to be collage pages. So I'm really just starting, and I wish I had a bigger brush, but that's what I have on hand. I mean, I have, actually, that might be fun. Let me get this paint off. So there's no, if you're wondering, oh, what's she thinking? I'm really trying. No, I have this brush, and some of it's like dried up crusty paint on here. I don't know. But it's fine because I'm just trying to get some color down. I think some of these could actually reactivate, and that's cool too. I'm just trying to add some color and fill up my page. And these are going to be layered multiple times using different different mediums and different techniques and stuff like that. And just trying to get my paint a little more fluid, like that, yeah. And I will get paint on my desk. I don't normally create here on this particular desk, although I'm working on rearranging a few things. Here, my other desk has paper down, but my other desk doesn't work with the camera mount I have. It's not deep enough. I mean, it could work, but I felt like it was going to be really tippy and just not. I'm just dipping into water there off camera, in case you're wondering. It's not going to be sturdy enough for painting and that sort of thing. So I do apologize. I think the camera's shaking a little bit, but we'll work it all out. I have an old, like, table, a garage sale table that we bought a long time. It's gone through like different family members, and it's very well used and loved. And where I just started painting it, giving it like a fresh coat of paint, and I'm happy with how it's coming out. It's going to have like a bit of a distressed look, which I think would be cool. And I'm going to set up my little refreshment stand that's currently on this table. If you're interested in seeing a tour, I did a like welcome to my studio tour when I first got the studio, which was only last month, really only a few weeks ago, and I did a full tour. It's a tiny room, so it's not, don't get too excited. Like, you really don't need to make a cup of coffee or anything to go watch it. But you can see what I'm talking about. And I'm going to move my my coffee station over to that side of, or over onto that table, along with the vintage typewriter I have, which had been at home, and I had to keep it locked up because I have a small child. My other ones are older and would understand if I told them not to touch it. I don't know that they're still young enough where they still might, but and I just didn't want the keys getting all banged up, because I remember I used to do that with my mom's typewriter. I used to just and then they all bunch up. So I didn't want that to happen. So it had been in its box, and kind of the reason I got it was to use it, but I also thought it would be fun to have it on display. So now that I have this space, I'm going to put it on the table, and I thought it would be cute next to my little refreshments. I might move that around, or I might put it on another table. Who knows? Who knows? But I'm just going to have a little plate. So if this whole idea that I have with these little create with me's is just, you know, watching me create, encouraging you to maybe make a little time for yourself. Again, even if it's just to pick up, you know, your favorite medium and make a mark, you know, or just try to make a little time and see what happens, see what comes from it. You know, making space for our creativity is what allows it to flow through us, and I think allows us to connect with all that's good. You know, when you're a creative person, I mean, if you're somebody who, you know, if you're a runner, I imagine when you go for a run, it's the same thing, right? It allows you to connect with that energy, right? Oops, I'm sorry, I'm a little off camera here. This stuff here. It allows you to connect with that energy of, I don't know, truth. You know, people say they always work out their problems or things like that. And I think that's what happens when you make space for that thing, whatever that is. Oh, look, I made mud. Yes, I do. But when you make space for that thing, I never worry about that. So if you're watching me choose colors like, oh, those are going to make mud, you're probably right, yeah. I don't tend to pay attention to it because I work in layers anyway, and if I don't like something, I just cover it up. I do like that yellow though, so I'm going to add some more of that to this. And I'm just trying to encourage people, and I don't know. It was so powerful for me when I made the decision to look into my studio. And I had been looking and talking about it for years. But you know when you're looking and talking about things, but you're like, yeah, I'm not going to have it. You know, I can. You know, someday. You know, that kind of looking and thinking about. Well, I really like that. And that's what was happening. So it was a lot of, you know, oh, wouldn't it be nice, you know, that kind of thing. And for me, and I've said this if you watch the Welcome to My Studio video, but for me, it was about claiming myself as a creative and realizing that this expression is important. The outcome of this expression isn't. And that's kind of tough to get around. At least it was for me, I think. Like it's, you know, how do you have, you know, rent studio space? Coffee. How do you rent studio space without it being tied to income? Like that's just foolishness. But what it did for me, this is kind of cool. You see the line of the paper. I probably should cover that up because it's kind of neat. What it did for me, though, we can never know how that one thing that you choose to do for yourself, that one thing that you're called to do, that you're brave enough to say, all right, fine, I'm doing it. We can never really know the ripple effect of that kind of thing. And I just, for me, I have felt amazing since I've been able to do it. And it's not viable for everyone, right? I understand that, of course. And I don't think it was about the studio. I think it was about me becoming the type of person who saw the value of having a studio, if that makes sense. I'm just loving this orange and yellow combination, so yeah. Just add a little bit of water just to kind of help it. It's very thick, this paint. So yeah, I hope that by watching me, you might go, you know what? Especially if you're maybe someone who's stuck because you're trying to make something specific, right? And you're like, I'm just trying to make, you know, or you're working on a piece, or you're, whatever, right? You're in the middle of something and you're stuck. It's real easy to sit there and be like, oh, you know, you're trying to solve that problem. But maybe you're watching me and you're like, well, I can slap some paint down on paper. That I can do. And who knows where it will lead? Maybe it's you're still stuck, and that's okay. But I don't know. I don't think you'd stay stuck that way, unless you hate this kind of painting. But you know what? Sometimes even doing that, you'd be like, you know what? This is terrible. I don't like this. And you might find your solution, or maybe just by slapping some paint down, you're like, oh, wait a minute, I could approach the piece this way, or who knows. But that's my goal here, is just to inspire you to make some time, even if you're, you know, struggling or tired, or, you know, it's been a day where you're like, I just want to bed on the couch and stream videos, or you know, finish another season of that show. And those can be cool too. You can do those. You can do those right after, you know, you sit at your desk for 20 minutes. And maybe that's what I should do. Michael Nobbs is a wonderful artist that I follow, and I've followed him for years. I was just checking my time. That's why I paused. And he's taught me so much about creativity and slow creativity, and doing things in manageable steps, being gentle with yourself. But he always talked about making time for doing your creativity in just a 20-minute chunk of the day. And so you think, all right, you want to sit down maybe and stream some movies because you've had just a day and you're just not into creativity. I'm making mud again. We're going to see what happens. I love that. I love when you have like multiple colors kind of come out in the same brush stroke. Yeah, it's so fun. And you might be thinking, I just need to veg, and I get it. And you might need to just veg. That's cool. But maybe if you said, all right, I need to veg, but you know what? While my popcorn's popping, I'm gonna sit down for the 2 minutes it takes my popcorn to pop, and I'm gonna sit down and I'm just gonna do something. Maybe you have your popcorn journal. Wouldn't that be fun? Call it your popcorn journal, where you just sit down and you do a sketch in the time it takes for you to make popcorn before you sit down and veg out and stream your show. I'm doing everything slanted, aren't I? The other ones too. That's fun. Maybe I should change it up a little bit. So you have a popcorn. Oh, should we make popcorn journals? I feel like we should make popcorn journals. What do you think? I'm thinking we're going to make a popcorn journal. Yeah, we're going to make popcorn journals. I actually have. Do I have one here? If you're painting, with me. Don't find the distraction. Yeah, look at this. Look at this. Okay. Do you guys watch Jennibellie's YouTube channel? If you love, if you like kind of what I'm doing, and you like, well, I shouldn't say that. Nah, she does a lot of mixed media, amazing work. She's the one that really got me into art journaling, taught me how to make journals. Not me personally, her channel taught me how to make journals. Again, everyone I'm mentioning will be linked, because I really think we should share things that bring us joy, right? No one hesitates to share the things that take us off, right? Let's share some of the stuff that brings us joy. So what I'm thinking, I'm gonna start bringing in this just because I'm gonna bring in some shapes. But Jennibellie was the first person who was like, that I ever saw on YouTube. So when I was really getting into YouTube and creativity and that kind of stuff, that was like, hey, see this box? Like, you can make a journal out of it. And I was like, what? And she does a video on this, and I'll try to find that video to link, because she's got although if you're gonna binge watch something with your popcorn, her channel's awesome for that. And she has classes and a community and everything like that, so it's definitely worth checking out. But I have this, and we can make a popcorn journal. What do you think? I'm almost thinking we keep the cover. I don't know, but I'm thinking a popcorn journal. So it's your 2 minutes while my popcorn's popping journal that I'm gonna go and I'm gonna do some creativity. I like that. I like that idea. So this is an empty roll of washi tape, in case you're wondering what I'm doing. And using all this kind of stuff was really a testament to Jennibellie. I mean, I've seen others, since, of course, but just really reusing stuff. She's wonderful for upcycling projects. She's great if you're on, using minimal supplies. And that's one of the things I've always struggled with, is sharing links to things I'm using. I love links personally, but I also don't want to just promote this idea that you have to go out and buy the things. You don't need the paper I'm using. If you really want to know, ask. I'll tell you where I got it. But assuming I can remember, but I do remember actually where I got this paper, and I'm happy to share. But I don't think it should ever be about duplicating. You don't want to duplicate what I'm doing here, right? It's already made. So make something for you and see what you have. But I love, I'm going to cover the whole thing. So this is one thing. One, I don't finish sentences often. I tend to go off on tangents and pause for sips of coffee. But I never know when to stop. And I follow some wonderful artists who are really good at not coloring in all their space. And I'm not one of those. I'm like, oh, this is so much fun. And next thing you know, it's it would have looked better if I had left some open space. And maybe we would have. But I'm going to be tearing it up into pieces anyway, so it's all good. But back to my other thought is maybe you don't have this paper or these paints or, you know, an empty washi tape holder, but it might be just, you know, thought starters, right? Like, oh, you know what, I don't have that paper, but I have this other paper that I've never used, or this other paper that I thought was going to be a heavier quality, and it's like thin, cheap, because this is really thin. This reminds me of like construction paper you'd use for kids. I'm just going to grab some more colors here. Again, I'm just grabbing colors. And so you say, well, yeah, I have that cheap paper. I have some copy paper here. Or I was watching the channel I mentioned again. I wish I could remember. It's a great name too, and I can't remember that. I'm terrible with names. But she was talking about, she was using like her like recycling paper. You know, so if you have, I think she said on one of them it was her like bank statements. What a great way if you don't have a paper shredder. you know, paint over them, collage over them, and then make them into, you know, whatever. And now you don't have to recycle it or shred it. You could use junk mail if you get anything like that. So I think I'm going to try to stop this in like the next 5 minutes because I'm going to try to keep these videos to 20 minutes because that feels like a nice space. A little homage to my friend Michael Nobbs. And to... I think it's a good amount of time to sit down. Like even if you're, you know, it is a really good time. If you're struggling and you're tired, but you know what? It's like I can do it for 20 minutes. So I think that's a good stopping point for us to have our little create with us sessions. But I'll keep working on these two, and then I'll make other. Maybe I'll keep working on this and make another video to share. But if you want to follow up to these pages, like a flip through, I'll do that. So when they're done, and I'm going to call them done, and I'm going to be ready to use them for collage, what I'm going to probably do is scan them in if I like them. If I like them, I scan them in. And then once I've scanned them in, I can print them as often as you want, which is really fun because I'm actually doing that with a project I'm working on. But then I can show them to you, so I can do kind of like an update, like here's where they turned out. Or I might film the ongoing process for next week. Should I do that? Maybe I'll do that. Let's see. So far I have 2, 4, 5 pages of potential collage material in 21 minutes, not including the rambling. I should add that. The 21 minutes, not including, I shouldn't say rambling, but not including the chit chat. So I am going to keep working and use up what's on my palette here. And then I'm going to use these palettes in collage somehow. So don't you worry. I try to reuse as much as I possibly can. As much as I can. You know, I think you do the best you can do, but I am trying to, you know, reuse like our popcorn. Those popcorn journals are totally happening. So if you're going to make a popcorn journal with me, I think that'll be a lot of fun to just have your little journal that, you know, before we sit down for the evening and do our binge, we're going to do something for our creative soul, right? Yeah. So right now, I'm just digging in with some water, and this is a pretty, it's like a purpley color. I'm kind of liking it. And I'm just adding a little water to this that's just picking up whatever's left on my palette. Again, not making anything other than painted paper. All right, I'm going to try to stop here because I don't want to overdo this page because I'm really liking how it's turning out. And I mean, I've done this with jelly prints too, but I find jelly printing it's fun. I love it. But sometimes I just don't feel like, it feels like it's a lot more work than just doing this. I don't know that it is, other than you're using more supplies. All right, I'm going to stop there for this video. I'm going to come back and say goodbye to you guys. So I've got paint-covered hands, which is always a good sign of fun being had. I hope you enjoyed this. This is my first kind of, I made my welcome video. But this is the first video I've really made that hopefully has made it online for my YouTube channel. And it was fun. It felt fun. So I hope you had fun. I hope you had fun. I hope you made something. Or maybe you just made notes of things that you want to do when you have time, right? And that's cool too. But we're definitely going to do the popcorn journal soon. So I'll be sure to share that and keep you updated with that. So thanks again for joining me. I hope you had fun, and I will see you again next time. Take care.